Welcome back into Pigskin Perspectives. We have a packed show today. A lot of bowl games to get to preview, one to review. NFL schedule packed this weekend. I honestly wouldn't expect anything less from the league on this Christmas weekend. So much to get to. Somewhat little time, but I mean, is there really a time limit here? So let's get into this. College football, bowl games galore this weekend. But sometimes you got to go back to actually move forward. I don't mean going back to reminisce or chase ghosts. We'll go back, review the Scooters Coffee Fresno Bowl, or Frisco Bowl, I should say. UTSA walks away with a 35-17 victory, the first bowl game victory in UTSA's program history. The program was founded 2011, I believe. They moved up to the FBS level in 2012. So a huge victory for the program. This game was in doubt at some points. Marshall went out to an early lead, 14-0, I think. Then after that, I mean, UTSA rolled in this game. A lot of the talk coming away from this game was the quarterback situation for both sides, with one being a McCown, which his father is Luke McCown, the former NFL quarterback, former journeyman quarterback. The other was a Pennington on the Marshall side, which of course is the son of Chad Pennington, former Marshall great, former NFL great. It made a lot of people on the internet feel old, so figured I'd just throw that one in there. But yeah, UTSA controlled this game not start to finish. I'd say from the second quarter on, they controlled this game. They thoroughly deserved the victory. Congrats to them on winning their first bowl game. So like I said, we had to move back before we moved forward. So let's look at this gauntlet of games that we got. So we're going to start off on Friday. Only one game on Friday. It's the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl between Georgia Tech and UCF. Both teams sitting at 6-6. I'd say both are kind of where they expected to be a little bit. Maybe not so much Georgia Tech. I think that they thought it would take another year to get back to the bowl game level. UCF, obviously a little disappointing, but when you jump from the American to a Power 5 conference like the Big 12, there's going to be growing pains. So I think that they should walk away happy with 6-6. I mean, look at the other teams that were moved on to the Big 12 this year. Not great. So I think both teams are kind of where they expected to be a little. Obviously, UCF won't admit that. They will say that they should have been, in the national championship because, they had to claim a title from 2017 that basically isn't real, but neither here nor there. I like Georgia Tech in this game. They're a 4.5 point underdogs. The over-under 66.5. I don't know if UCF comes out. They probably will, which will make this an interesting game, which is why I think that over-under is so high. But I like Georgia Tech in this game. I think they're the better side. The Union 76 Birmingham Bowl. This is on Saturday. We moved on to Saturday. That's going to be the most of this slate. A lot of games. Duke and Troy are traveling to Birmingham, Alabama Protective Stadium to face off in this Birmingham Bowl. Troy is the 7.5 point favorite, as they should be, even though they lost their head coach. This is actually, both teams have lost their head coach, both under interim coaches. I still think Troy's the better team. Duke, yes, they had moments this year, and then they had moments where they were absolutely awful. And a lot of those were the second half of the season. Now, without their coach, Mike Elko, I don't know if this team's going to be up for it, which is why I think Troy actually comes away with the victory in this Birmingham Bowl. Moving on, another noon kickoff on Saturday. It's the Camellia Bowl from Montgomery, Alabama, the Crampton Bowl Stadium. 10th anniversary of the Camellia Bowl. It's a stat, and they put it on their logo. It's Arkansas State. Butch Jones facing off against Northern Illinois. Arkansas State is the 3-point favorite. 54.5 over under. I'm going to go with Butch Jones and the Red Wolves in this one just because that's a lot closer than, DeKalb, Illinois to Montgomery, Alabama. Kind of far away. What is it? Jonesboro, Arkansas to Montgomery, Alabama? Not as far. So I like Arkansas State in this one. Moving on to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. It is James Madison, 11-1 James Madison. A lot of people thought that they wouldn't get here because of the whole bowl ineligibility stuff, but not enough bowl teams qualified, so they are here. A lot of people thought that they were going to go in undefeated, and Appalachian State ruined that. They're going to face off against Air Force, another team that was in that New Year's Six talk at the beginning of the season, and then a loss to Army just derailed their season. I think they finished up 8-4. These two teams will face off in Fort Worth for the Armed Forces Bowl. JMU's a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under's 40.5, a 3:30 kickoff. James Madison down a coach, down a lot of players in the portal. It kind of makes me want to lean Air Force in this one. Just because of that, Air Force is going to run it down their throat. We know that. That's a service academy for you. They're going to run it down your throat, and that clock is going to drain quickly, very, very quickly. So I'm going to pick Air Force in this one because, one, you can't go against a service team in the Armed Forces Bowl, and two, I think the interim coach and then a lot of opt-out / transfer portals for JMU are really going to hurt this team, and it's going to be Air Force walking away with the victory in this one. Moving on, another 3:30 kickoff. It is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, live from Boise, Idaho, Albertson Stadium, the blue turf of Boise State, as it is Georgia State, the Panthers, facing off against Utah State Aggies. Utah State's a 1.5-point favorite, over under 59.5. I haven't watched enough of Sean Elliott's Georgia State team this year for me to truly give an opinion on them, I feel. Nor have I watched a lot of Utah State football, so this truly is not a bowl game I should be picking. But just given that A, Vegas always knows, and B, just the proximity, give me Utah State. I like that better in this game. Atlanta to Boise, two very different places on two very different sides of the country. So give me Utah State in that one. The 68 Ventures Bowl. What is 68 Ventures? I have no idea, but they are sponsoring the bowl game in Mobile, Alabama. What was the last sponsor? I know it was Dollar General at one point. I know before Dollar General it was GoDaddy. Before GoDaddy it was the GMAC. Before that I think it was some random internet website in 2000. I don't know. This bowl game has been going on for 20 years though in Mobile. And given that it's going to be South Alabama, who are technically playing at home. This is being played at Hancock-Whitney Stadium, which is where South Alabama plays their games. They will be going up against Eastern Michigan, the Fighting Eagles. Chris Creighton gets his team to a bowl game once again, one of the most underrated coaching jobs the past decade in college football. I mean, Eastern Michigan was awful. Chris Creighton comes in. This is like their fifth bowl game in the last 6 years or something like that. The huge game for the Eagles. over this past decade. South Alabama, 17.5-point favorite. The over-under is 45.5. I don't like how large this number is. I do think South Alabama wins because, A, it's at home. You're going to have a home crowd. You don't have to travel. Eastern's got to travel a long way. I don't love the number, though. I think this is too large of a number for a bowl game where you're going to have a lot of players on both sides that are most likely playing their final football game ever. I like Eastern Michigan with the points here, but if you're just asking me to pick outright, give me South Alabama. Moving on, the SRS Distributions Las Vegas Bowl between Northwestern, who is being repped tonight, a nice throwback helmet logo. Just what a job Dave Braun has done with that program. Comes in as interim head coach in July, I believe, after Pat Fitzgerald gets fired. Leads this team to 7-5, a team that was 1-11 last year, with their one win being in Ireland, week 0. You'd have to go back to 2021 for their last win in the United States, which was like in October of 2021. All that vanquished. They finished 7-5. They were really only a game away from going into Indianapolis, I should say. They're going up against a Utah Utes team who kind of dealt with a lot of adversity this year. It was also always the question if Cam Rising's coming back. And that question was asked every single week. And then it just ends up being he never came back. He's coming back next year, though, but he did not come back this year. Utah's a 6.5-point favorite, over under 41.5. Northwestern, I want to pick them in this game because I think they are the underdog here. I think they might be the better team. The only thing is, Utah was in the Rose Bowl last year. Actually, the past 2 years. And now here they are. They're going to be on December 23rd on Festivus playing in Las Vegas. That's long way from Pasadena on New Year's Day. I don't know if Utah is going to be up for this game, which makes me even more want to pick Northwestern. So that's going to be my choice here, even though they probably will end up losing by 30 now that I've said all this. And finally, your nightcap for Saturday, which it's devastating this game isn't on Sunday because this game's always on Christmas Eve unless Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday, which, whatever. I know you don't want to compete with the NFL, but there are sickos out there that need football on Christmas Eve. That's not the NFL. They need to be watching the Easy Point Hawaii Bowl, which half of the time features Hawaii if they're semi-competent. But this year, Hawaii obviously not here in the Easy Point Hawaii Bowl, as it is Coastal Carolina going up against San Jose State. San Jose State, a 9.5-point favorite, over under 48.5. Lots been going on this week, just off the field wise. Nothing terrible, but I mean, we had the San Jose State head coach go into a press conference for the bowl game wearing a Colt Brennan Hawaii jersey, which is a great tribute, but also weird because San Jose State and Hawaii are technically rivals. Some of Colt Brennan's best games came against the Spartans, so kind of odd situation there. And then you had Coastal Carolina's head coach, just a odd picture at the beach that was posted by the official social media, which there was nothing wrong with the picture, but it ended up getting taken down. Just it's got a weird vibes feel of a Hawaii Bowl that we're going to get a 10:30 kickoff. So it's going to be a late night on the island. It's no Hawaii test, though. We're not getting a midnight kickoff, which, I mean, if we're moving it to not Christmas Eve, let's kick it off at midnight. Why not? I know why not, but why not? I don't even know who I like in this game. if Grayson McCall was playing, I'd like Coastal Carolina. He's not. He's transferred to NC State. Chevon Cordero, quarterback for San Jose State. I honestly don't know if he's playing in this game because he's a senior. But if he is playing in this game, it's his last game. He's being played on the island at a university that he was playing at for 2 years before he transferred. I want him to get his win. I want Cordero to get his win. So give me San Jose State in this one. Now, we're going to move on to Boxing Day because when the next episode of Pigskin Perspectives will be recorded, it will be obviously after Christmas and it will be on Boxing Day. So we got to get these games through. Quick Lane Bowl, 2 p.m. in Detroit. It's Bowling Green against Minnesota. Minnesota, the only 5-7 team to make a bowl game. They are a 4.5-point favorite. Over under 39.5. These two teams played earlier this year. It was Minnesota walking away with the victory, but I don't think they walk away with the victory in this one. It's hard to beat a team twice in a year, so give me Bowling Green. The Serve Pro First Responders Bowl from Dallas, Texas. It is Texas State, the Bobcats, in their first ever bowl game, going up against the Rice Owls in their back-to-back bowl games, I believe. For a first time in long time. It may be the first time ever for the Rice Owls. Texas State a 5.5-point favorite, and I very much agree with that number. I think Texas State wins this game. I think they're just the better team, which is saying something because it's their first bowl game, and I think they're the better team. And finally, it is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl live from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, 9 p.m. kickoff. It is Kansas going up against UNLV. Kansas is the 12.5-point favorite. Over under 64.5, and I completely disagree with Vegas on this one. I think that, once again, this line is too large, which makes me really like UNLV in this one. UNLV coming off just a devastating loss in the Mountain West Championship game at home against Boise State. I like UNLV in this one. I don't know if they win, but I think they cover. I think that's a pretty good bet that they cover in this game. It should be really entertaining. Two quick offenses will be going up against each other in this one. Whew, that was a lot of bowl games to go through. Of course, we will recap, most of them, because the Tuesday games, some of them won't be finished by the time it's recording. So we'll recap most of them on Tuesday. Hopefully we get a lot of entertaining action. We'll move on to the NFL. Right now, it is the Saints and the Rams on Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Both teams are fighting for their playoff lives. Right now, I think the Rams are in a better shot at the playoffs than the Saints. The Saints have to win the division, which is always something. I mean, the Rams currently, as of recording, they are in the lead by 3. Do I think they hold off? I think they do. But the Saints need this if they want to make the playoffs, and because they need to win the division. Now, schedule gets weird from here. Saturday, we have a doubleheader, a technical NBC doubleheader, even though the second game's not on NBC. 4:30, it is the Bengals and the Steelers, two teams that kind of are seeing, the Bengals aren't seeing their playoff hopes diminish, but the Steelers very much are. Bengals need this one to keep steady because there's a lot of teams that are in that playoff hunt right now, and you need wins. So the Bengals need to get a win in this one on the road in Pittsburgh. Then the 8 o'clock game, Peacock exclusive. The first ever, no, it's not the first ever exclusive game live on streaming because a few of the London games have been. But it is the first ever US-based streaming-only game. That might be a better way to put it. It is the Bills. It is the Chargers. This game would have been a lot more entertaining if Justin Herbert wasn't injured and he had a coach that was competent. Obviously, Brandon Staley got fired. The Bills need this one to stay. They're kind of like the Saints. They need this one to stay in the playoff and division hunt. So I like the Bills in this one. Moving on to Sunday, a still packed grid, even though there are a few less games because of Saturday and what will be Monday. 1 o'clock, it is the Colts and the Falcons. Another team that needs a win here is the Colts. They need to win this one to stay in this playoff hunt. I think they do it because they're facing off against an Atlanta team that's just bad. How they stayed in the division fight for this long, I don't know. But the Colts need this win more than the Falcons do. I expect them to get the victory in this one. Seahawks, Titans. The Seahawks coming off a stunning Monday night victory against the Eagles. The Titans are coming off a overtime loss to the Texans. I think the Titans keep this close because Seattle's on a short week. They have to travel to the central time zone. I always think Nashville's more east. But it's still 1 o'clock kickoff, so that's still an early kickoff for Seattle. I like the Titans to keep it close. I don't think they win, though. Lions-Vikings. The Lions have the opportunity to clinch the division for the first time since 1991, I believe. It's 91 or 93. I think it's 91. Still. Opportunity to clinch the division for the first time since the 90s. Kind of a huge deal for the Lions. I don't know if they get it. The Lions have looked like a different team on the road, and not in a good way. The Vikings keep it close, but I think the Lions find a... Well, the Lions lost to the Bears like 2 weeks ago. Even though the Lions put up a resounding performance against the Broncos last week, give me Minnesota. Nick Mullins' legacy game. Washington Commanders, New York Jets. I don't want to watch this game because it's going to be ugly on both sides. Aaron Rodgers officially not going to play this year. We all knew it. This game's going to be awful. I don't even want to pick it. I guess give me the Jets because it's at home. Cleveland Browns traveling down to Houston to play the Texans. Joe Flacco, still quarterback, still good. Looks like Case Keenum will be starting at quarterback for the Texans with C.J. Stroud still out for a concussion. It's quite disappointing, even though I want the Browns to win because we need all the wins we can get to get this playoffs. I just don't know. This feels like one of those trap games where everything kind of just falls apart for the Browns. Injuries start stacking up and it just ends here. But given that, it looked like that was going to be the game last week. Browns' resilient comeback fourth quarter win the game. I don't know. Obviously, you know what the heart is telling me. It's the Cleveland Browns winning this game. The gut is more, this game is going to be close the whole way. You're going to be annoyed by the fourth quarter because there's just so many ways this game could have gone differently. I don't see how this one's ending, honestly. Case Keenum going up against his former team. Obviously, the Browns have had a lot of quarterbacks, so they have a lot of former teams that they go up against. I truly don't know how this one plays out. Green Bay, Carolina. Carolina getting their second win of the season last week against the Falcons. Green Bay's kind of a little bit in free fall right now. Green Bay needs this game, even though they're basically out of the playoff picture. They need to win this game unless it starts spiraling downhill, which is a possibility. I like the Packers to win that. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, 4:05 kickoff. Jacksonville coming off a just awful loss on Sunday Night Football to the Ravens, like 24-7, I think. The Buccaneers in control of their destiny to win the division. I like the Jaguars in this one. They need to bounce back because if they lose this game, that division they may be looking on the outside for the playoffs, because I think the only way they get in now is that they have to win the division, because if you keep dropping games, you're going to end up on the outside, and I don't think Jacksonville wants to do that. 4:25 kickoff. I don't know why this is a 4:25 kickoff, but it is. The Cardinals and the Bears in Chicago. Again, don't know why this is a 4:25 kickoff. Two bad teams playing in a prime slot. Give me the Bears. The game that everybody will be wanting to watch in that 4:25 window. It is the Cowboys and the Dolphins. Two teams with high-flying offenses. The Dolphins trying to get rid of that fraud tag by beating a team that is over 500, I should say. I don't know how this one plays out. I'm worried about Miami because they always put it up against bad teams, and then when they go to play good teams, they always just don't know what they're doing, it looks like. The Cowboys, on the other hand, might be starting the beginning of their just massive choke, as they always do in December and January. It's like I don't even know what to compare this game to. It's a movable force. I don't even know how the saying goes right now. That's how just boggled my mind is at this game, because I don't know who's going to win. A stoppable force meets a movable object. I changed the wording there, obviously, because unstoppable force versus an unmovable object. But you heard what I said. I like the Dolphins in this one. Give me the Dolphins. It's at home. I love a good Cowboys choke this time of year, so give me that at least. 8:15 kickoff. So this year's Sunday night game, except it's on NFL Network, and I don't know why. It is the Patriots and the Broncos. Give me the Broncos just because they need a bounce back and the Patriots are bad. And now we get to Christmas Day. It is the 1 p.m. kickoff on CBS. I believe this is also the Knicks-Miss game, so if you want to watch this game on Nickelodeon, this game will be on there. SpongeBob and Friends. It is the, I almost said Oakland Raiders there. Las Vegas Raiders going up against Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Chiefs haven't been great. I mean, they win games, but this has been a down year for them. Is this a game where they lose to a division opponent? I'm thinking maybe, because the Raiders aren't good, but they find ways to sneak victories away. If this was in Las Vegas, I'd say the Raiders are winning this game. Given it's at Arrowhead, I think that gives the advantage to Kansas City. Kansas City sneaks out with victory. 4:25 kickoff. The people that threw batteries at Santa Claus are getting a Christmas Day game, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're facing off against the New York Giants. Tommy DeVito. I think that thing has run its course. The Eagles need a win here. They just do. 3 straight losses. They need a win desperately. I think it does come on Christmas Day. The man that they threw batteries at gifts them this victory. So I like the Eagles. What a monumental matchup we get to close this week. Week 16 of the NFL, is that where we're at? I think it is. It is the Ravens and the 49ers on Monday Night Football on Christmas night. Oh my gosh, this is going to be such a great game. We're going to find out what the Ravens are. Either the Ravens are going to win this game and prove a point, and we may be looking at a Super Bowl preview, or the Raiders lose this game, the AFC becomes more convoluted, and your, Cleveland Browns might be looking at an AFC North possible title. Just saying. Not going to happen, though. Not going to happen. Not jinxing anything. Not going to happen. This game's going to be so entertaining. We're really going to find out a lot about both sides, I think. I really don't know who to predict here. Given it's in Santa Clara, I like the 49ers in this one. They're just the better team. They're a juggernaut, at least a regular season juggernaut, and that's why I like them in this one. Wow, we just went through a lot of football. And you know what? We're going to enjoy it all. Because, like I just said, it's week 16 of the NFL season. Then it's week 17. Then it's week 18. And then guess what? Half the teams are gone. Then we get in the playoffs, the nitty-gritty. College football. We're already at Boxing Day, which means we're a week away from the playoff. Which means we're like a week and a few days away from having one college football game left in the year. We're going to enjoy all these football games this Christmas season. We're going to enjoy them because we know that there's only a finite amount left. So please enjoy this football this weekend. Thank you so much for watching. If you just stumbled across this video, hit like, hit subscribe. Tell anybody you know about it. We'll be back on Boxing Day to recap all this football on another episode of Pigskin Perspectives.